Hey, you guys. Oh, I was almost on time, 9:05. I was supposed to be on here at 9 o'clock. So sorry if you've been waiting for just a minute. It is a trick getting your kids out the door and trying to get showered and get ready to do this. So anyway, sorry that I'm late, but I've got a story I want to tell you guys that I think is going to be something that will maybe help you rethink some of the clutter in your life and maybe some of the places and ways that you've been avoiding it. So if you're hopping on right now, welcome. Would love to hear from you, kind of what's up for you. I would love to hear maybe a part of what you want to work on this year. In 2020, what's some clutter you're hoping to clear? And a lot of times we think about clutter as that junk on the counter, and it's true. Clutter is the messy stuff we don't know what to do with, but it's not just the tangible stuff. It's not just the closets that are too full or your house that feels like it's got too much stuff in it. There's intangible clutter, and what I want to talk to you about today is some intangible clutter that I helped my daughter face last night. So I have a 13-year-old daughter who's beautiful and smart and talented. Math is not her thing. So she has a bunch of math makeup tests she needs to do, and this is the last week for the term that they're going to let her do it. And so all Christmas break, I said to her, Sarah, you probably better be working on your math. But guess what that is to her? That is clutter. That's that intangible clutter. She doesn't want to face it. It's messy. It's hard. So she didn't look at it all Christmas break long. 2.5 weeks, she didn't look at it. So she had to take her first retake test this morning at about 7:40. And so last night, after she got home from basketball and the other activities she has, we pull out the math, and it was messy. And you guys, here's the thing. Sarah is no different than me, no different than you, no different than any of your friends, because the deal is we don't want to face that messy stuff. We don't know what to do with it, and it's yucky, and it's hard, and we don't know where to start, and we feel like we're going to fail. I don't blame Sarah at all. But what Sarah experienced last night is exactly what you and I experience when we don't face our clutter, because here's the deal. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. 10:30, we're plowing through this math and it's just not clicking. And here's what happens when we wait until we absolutely have to face that clutter. We do it at the 11th hour when there's a deadline, when all of a sudden it's become this fire we have to fight, when we don't have good presence of mind, and we cram or we try to do a quick fix. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about like a relationship you kind of know you need to fix. And we don't really do much about it until a fire starts. Like there's a real issue in the relationship, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, a family relationship. Maybe we're going on vacation and we know it's not enough time to really mend that relationship. Maybe we've got a child that we're struggling with and we're not facing that clutter. And over time, when it could be healing, it's just getting worse. And there comes a point where we know either we've got to do it and we just don't have the time to correct it the way that we want to. Okay, I'm also talking about, this is kind of a touchy one, but like our health stuff too, right? Like we all know we probably better be taking better care of our bodies. Like I see a bunch of you on here, so just kind of like give me an amen if you feel like you know what I'm talking about. We all know we need to be doing better, getting more sleep, eating better, exercise, like whatever it is we need to do. And yet I know this is me. Every day I'm like, oh, I'll just start it tomorrow because it's cluttery and it's messy and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do with it. And then suddenly there's a health diagnosis or there's a high school reunion or I mean something where you're like, okay, I've got to fix this now, and you just don't have the time to fix it the right way, just like my daughter Sarah last night. Okay. Other areas that crop up of clutter, you know, health, relationships, could be just feeling like you're making a difference in the world. It also could be just your house and the way that you're living and just that sense that I could be doing better. I could be having a more full life. And yet every day I'm not going to do it because I'm not quite sure where to start because it's messy. All right. So here's what happened with Sarah last night. So a couple hours into math, she was a mess, falling apart. She had her daily assignment with a test tomorrow and then this retake she had to take. And we kept going over and over the concepts. But here's the thing, she was facing her clutter. And even though this morning she didn't go to school as prepared as she could have, if she'd have faced it earlier, we discovered something. See, there's this gem in facing your clutter. This is what we discovered. That girl falls apart the second something doesn't make sense to her, which with math, it's every single problem. She wants to look at it and understand it the second she looks at it. And I told her, Sarah, I don't even understand that math every time I look at it. I look at it and think, okay, and this is 7th grade math, but give me a break because it's been a while since I've done math, but I have to think through it in my mind. But what Sarah did is throw in the towel and just conclude, I can't do it. See, I can't do math. And off she'd go. And I told her, you're having this 13-year-old tantrum every time something doesn't make sense. And that's the pattern you're stuck in. Now, I share that because as we talked through that, I said, okay, Sarah, on this next problem, I want you to tell yourself, if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to think about it and I'm going to figure it out, which sounds like a no-brainer, really simple, right? But we approached the next problem with that. And I said, do I have your word that you will not fall apart? Okay, and keep in mind, this is while we are facing her clutter. We had this discovery about what her brain does. So we approached the next problem, and you guys, she figured it out just like that. All these problems that were taking her 15, 20 minutes, I am not kidding, within 30 to 45 seconds, she figured it out just like that. Okay, the real victory last night was not that she figured out her math problem and that she was a little better prepared for this test she needed to retake. The real victory was that as we faced the clutter, we figured out what she was doing to create the problem. Okay, this is why we face the clutter, even though it's messy and even though we don't want to. This is why we look into our health, maybe prior to when there's an emergency, why we start working on a relationship or maybe cleaning up our home or our environment before we have to, like company coming or whatever. Because as we face the clutter, and I feel some wisdom bubbling up. So pay attention to this part. As we face the clutter, the stepping stones to get to where we want to go are unveiled. So Sarah doesn't just struggle with math in her life. She's got some other things she struggles with. But we picked up this pattern as we were facing the clutter last night and talked about a few other areas in her life that this could benefit her. All right, so let's circle back to you and why this matters to you. I am going to bet you right now that if I asked you what's some clutter that if you could step away from any problem that you have right now, if 2020 could be the year that you no longer have to deal with a certain problem, I bet something comes to your mind right this second. If it's personal, don't post it. If it's not, I want to see some comments here, you guys, because I think it helps everyone to know, hey, I'm not the only one. I've talked really openly before about food struggles that I've had, how I've had some impulses that I've had a hard time, cravings, things I've had a hard time controlling, right? If I could step away from anything in 2020, what would that be? And those aren't fun things to face, but I want you to think about what that is. Post it if you can. I really want to see it. I want to help you face that clutter. And one thing that I think will really help is tomorrow. It's the Let's Do This online event. I've been talking to you guys about this in newsletters, social media, other lives. I want to see you there because we've got really cool experts coming in these categories of life that are really universal to all of us, like relationships, as I mentioned, health, finding your purpose, and then getting organized. We're going to give you some quick takeaways, each of us, about 15 minutes each. Got a 90-minute event total. We've got some awesome giveaways with some essential oils, this really awesome sports like exercise wear that we're doing, and some other really fun giveaways. So we want to see you all there, but the reason that I really want you there is because I want you to take that problem that you're thinking about right now. I want you to bring it to Let's Do This, and then I want you to listen really carefully because I promise as you're listening, there will be a thought that will spark an idea. Someone will say something, maybe it's me, maybe it's one of the other experts, it doesn't really matter, that will give you a stepping stone of what you need to do. You will have a discovery if you come to that with that intention. And so tomorrow, let's see, what's the date tomorrow? I think it's the 7th. I better check my phone. Yeah, no, it's the 8th. Okay, so tomorrow the 8th, Wednesday, at 10 a.m. Mountain Time for 90 minutes. We've expanded the seating. We filled right up. We had a 200 people limit. We passed that right up. We've opened it up, so there's a little more seating. I want to see you there at 10 o'clock. Now, if you can't come, that's okay. We're going to send you back the recording. It's awesome if you can be there to win the prizes and to ask any questions that come up. But if you need to listen to it later, no problem. I also want to invite you to grab a friend to come with you to this event. Even though it's online, it helps to have some accountability. So I'm going to provide the link in just a second. Want you to hop on right now and get registered so that you're committing to face that clutter that's been haunting you for a really long time. All right, you guys, I want 2020 to be your year to figure this one out. And as you face that clutter, you are going to learn something that's going to help you with this, but it's also going to help you with a whole bunch of other things in your life. All right, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. The way Sarah was approaching math is the way she approaches other pieces of her life. We learned something really valuable that if we continue to practice, it's going to make a difference in her life. All right, let's find what that step is for you. Let's face your clutter. Let's do this tomorrow. Let's make 2020 an awesome year. And you guys, thanks so much to so many of you for joining. I love seeing everyone on and would love to hear any comments about any clutter you feel like you want to face or anything specific you'd like to have addressed tomorrow. Would love to do that. And again, I'll provide the link and hope to see you there. All right, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.